The latest comments from Springboks head coach Rassie Erasmus have revealed one of the most fascinating behind-the-scenes stories ahead of South Africa's huge Nations Championship clash against England. While fans have been focused on team selections and match predictions, Erasmus has shared details of a decision that could have completely changed the international future of one talented player. According to the Springboks coach, Bristol Bears centre Benhard Janse van Rensburg came remarkably close to wearing the famous green and gold jersey before eventually committing his future to England. For many rugby supporters, the revelation came as a genuine surprise. Janse van Rensburg was born and developed as a rugby player in South Africa before building an impressive professional career in England. Since arriving at Bristol Bears, he has become one of the Premiership's most consistent midfield performers. His powerful ball carrying, aggressive defense, and excellent game awareness have earned praise from coaches, teammates, and rugby analysts alike. Those performances eventually caught the attention of England head coach Steve Borthwick, who included the centre in his extended squad for the Nations Championship. Although Janse van Rensburg cannot make his England debut against South Africa because he only becomes fully eligible to represent England on July 8th, there is growing confidence that his first test appearance is only a matter of time. That makes Erasmus' latest comments even more significant because they reveal just how close the player came to representing the Springboks instead. Speaking openly with reporters, Erasmus admitted that South Africa had already been monitoring Janse van Rensburg for some time. He explained that conversations had taken place with the player and that there was genuine interest from both sides. The Springboks coaching staff believed he had the qualities needed to compete at international level, particularly because of his physical style of play and his ability to perform consistently in one of the toughest domestic competitions in world rugby. However, the situation became far more complicated than simply selecting a player. Erasmus explained that during discussions with South Africa rugby officials, he was asked whether he intended to cap Janse van Rensburg during the current season. At that stage, the coach answered honestly. While he appreciated the player's talent, South Africa already had several experienced midfield options available, and he could not promise immediate test opportunities. His priority was to select players based on current squad requirements rather than rushing someone into international rugby simply to secure their eligibility. That honest response would later become one of the biggest factors in determining the player's future. As preparations for the international season continued, circumstances inside the Springbok squad began to change. Injuries, player management, and concerns over midfield depth created new opportunities. Erasmus and his coaching team started discussing the possibility of involving Janse van Rensburg during the June fixtures, including matches involving the Barbarians and South Africa A. Those games would have provided valuable experience while also officially tying the talented centre to South Africa before England could complete the process. But when Erasmus contacted senior officials once again, he received an unexpected response. He was reminded that an earlier commitment had already been made. Because South Africa had previously indicated they would not pursue the player aggressively, rugby administrators had assured both England and World Rugby that they would respect that position. As a result, the Springboks could no longer reverse their decision simply because circumstances had changed. Rather than challenging that agreement, Erasmus accepted the outcome. The opportunity to bring Janse van Rensburg into the Springboks setup disappeared, allowing England to continue with their own long-term plans. The story has generated plenty of discussion because it highlights how international rugby has evolved over recent years. Talent alone is no longer the only factor that determines which country a player represents. Eligibility rules, international agreements, strategic planning, and relationships between rugby unions all play important roles behind the scenes. Supporters often focus only on what happens during 80 minutes on the field, but decisions made in meeting rooms can sometimes have an even greater impact on a player's career. For England, securing a player of Janse van Rensburg's quality represents another important step in strengthening their squad. Steve Borthwick has been rebuilding his team with an emphasis on competition across every position. Adding another experienced Premiership performer gives England greater depth in midfield and creates healthy competition for starting places. Janse van Rensburg's playing style appears well suited to international rugby. He is known for his strong defensive tackling, direct running, intelligent positioning, and calm decision-making under pressure. Those qualities have made him one of Bristol Bears' most reliable performers, and many believe they will translate successfully to the Test arena. From South Africa's perspective, the situation is understandably disappointing, but not disastrous. The Springboks remain blessed with outstanding talent across their squad and continue to produce world-class players through their domestic system. Even so, Erasmus admitted that the centre position is not as deep as many supporters might think. Every international coach wants as many quality options as possible, particularly during long and demanding seasons when injuries are inevitable. Modern rugby places enormous physical demands on players. Domestic competitions, European tournaments, international fixtures, and travel schedules create constant challenges for coaches trying to keep their squads fresh and competitive. That is why maintaining depth has become one of the biggest priorities for every successful national team. Despite losing the chance to select Janse van Rensburg, Erasmus made it clear that there are no hard feelings toward either the player or England. Instead, he expressed genuine happiness whenever South African-born players succeed around the world. He explained that seeing South Africans perform well overseas reflects positively on the country's rugby system and demonstrates the quality of players being developed. He also pointed to examples of South African coaches and players making major contributions in different countries. Whether it is former Springboks working abroad or players building successful careers overseas, Erasmus believes their achievements should be celebrated rather than criticized. That positive attitude reflects the confidence currently surrounding South African rugby, which continues to produce elite talent year after year. Still, many supporters cannot help wondering what might have happened if events had unfolded differently. Had South Africa acted earlier, Janse van Rensburg might have been preparing to face England this weekend wearing green and gold instead of waiting for his opportunity in a white England jersey. For England's supporters, however, the future looks exciting. Once his eligibility officially begins, Janse van Rensburg is expected to compete strongly for a place in Steve Borthwick's matchday squad. His experience, physicality, and consistency could provide England with another valuable weapon as they continue building toward future international tournaments. The story also highlights the increasingly global nature of modern rugby. Professional players regularly move between countries to further their careers, and eligibility regulations allow some of them to represent nations different from their birthplace. These situations often generate passionate debate, but they have become a normal part of today's international game. Some fans believe unions should do everything possible to keep talented players from representing other countries. Others argue that professional athletes should have the freedom to choose whichever nation they qualify for and feel most connected to. There is no perfect answer, especially when players have strong ties to more than one country. Perhaps the most impressive aspect of Erasmus' comments was his honesty. Instead of avoiding difficult questions, he openly explained the conversations that took place, the decisions that were made, and why South Africa ultimately respected the commitments already given. That level of transparency is relatively rare in professional sport, where many discussions remain private. As South Africa and England prepare for another fiercely contested encounter, this unexpected story has become one of the biggest talking points surrounding the match. Although Benhard Janse van Rensburg will not feature in this particular fixture, his journey serves as a reminder that international rugby careers are shaped by much more than performances on the field. Timing, communication, planning, and trust can all influence a player's future just as much as talent. Whether Janse van Rensburg eventually becomes a regular starter for England remains to be seen, but one thing is certain. His story could easily have followed a completely different path. The late